All right, we're back for another video here today. Minimum page rates. Now, this is something that we've heard quite a bit about. And this is coming from a former editor over at Harris Comics, okay? And he states, in 2009, as editor-in-chief of Harris Comics. Now, if you're not aware of Harris Comics, they were the publishers of Vampira back in the day, Vampirilla, and of course, Cyberfrog. I paid out the following starter rates, quote unquote starter rates, minimum per page rates for comic book writers and artists new to my company. Even after subsequent experience at Marvel and other publishers, these rates continue to serve as my baseline for what talent should be paid at minimum. I can tell you without even going through the deep dive here that this is not what talent's being paid at minimum, not even at the big two, and especially not on the lower end of the indie levels, okay? We're going to do some math. I'm going to bring out a calculator and we're going to calculate the total cost of this if it was a 24-page floppy, all right? 24-page floppy. I'm going to bring out the calculator. And yeah, I'm just going to set it aside right over here. And let's start at writing. So let's say I'm not writing my own book, right? I am hiring someone to write at this rate. So at 24, we're already looking at $2,640. Now assume also that this is an American dollarinos, okay? Pencils, 190 page just for pencils. That's almost $200 a page, right? So we got our so let's see here. I'm going to bring up a little notepad so I can keep track of all these little numbers. We got 2,640 for writing. And now we got 190 times 24. So let's go ahead and do the math. 190 times 24 is 4560. So $4,560. America-Rooney dollars, okay? So 4560 line work. Now, most artists ink their own work nowadays, right? And that would usually be covered in the cost of line work. However, they do have 135 times 24 for inks. So assuming that you are paying a separate inker to ink your project, you're now looking at another $3,240 for inks, okay? Crazy, right? Crazy, John. It's crazy. Colors, 125 times 24. Let's do the math together, guys. Bring out your calculators. That's another $3,000 in colors. You see where this is going? Letters. Now, even today, $25 per page on letters is still the high end. So let's see what that's going to cost. That's an additional $600. There's the cheapest part of your expenses right there. Covers. All right, so let's assume, and never assume because it makes an ass out of you and me, but let us do it for once. They said a basic cover here is $550. Now, most campaigns are going to have 2 of these, 3 of these. Let's go with 2. That's an additional $1,100 for a couple of covers. And then a painted cover, right? So another $1,000 for a painted cover. Like, let's say that covers your superstar artist, whoever it's going to be, right? We're just going to call this one Superstar Billy Graham. Now we're going to do the math. Okay, we're going to add this all up. Okay, we're going to add this all up. And we're going to see what your new starting comic book, based on these rates, is going to cost you, okay? So, we got, again, 2,640 for writing. I wish someone would pay me that. I write your comic. For line work is another 4,500, right? 4,560. So let's do this. 2,640 plus 4,560 plus 3,240 for inks. Absurd. We're already past 10,000, by the way, folks. 3,000 for colors, 600 for letters, 1,100 for a couple of covers, and 1,000 for your superstar. Your total. You guys ready to see this? This is gonna be fucking amazing, right? your total here. I'm going to just put it up right here. I'm just going to change the window capture here for a sec. You know what the total is of this? If you were to follow this man's guidelines, and this, keep in mind, this is going back from 2009. So you're looking at 16,140 freedom dollars, not duck bucks, for your beginning comic. No one can afford that. You know why? Because no one can even make that on Kickstarter unless if you are doing something special. So if you're going to spend your $16,000 and potentially raise, say, I don't know, $5,000, and that's a high end for a lot of people, and that's not to be insulting, it's just true. Let's go look. You know what I mean? You are now in debt by $11,140. And that's not counting printing, shipping, and any, supplies and anything else that you're going to, again, have to pay for, right? So I call this Harris Comics editor and rates garbage. Garbage. Like flat out garbage. Okay? I'm going to take a quick break here. All right, we're back. So I had to just resize the window there. So this is from Jamal Eigel. It says, stolen from Bon something. We'll call him Bon Scott. If you can't meet these minimum rates and have corporate backing, just don't publish. Okay, well, I guess there's the key word, right? Corporate backing. And so I chimed in. Because this, again, is from 2009. That is what? 13, 14 years ago, give or take. I said, so have the rates gone up or down? And I do want an answer to that. This particular person says most pros aren't even doing their own covers these days, right? So are most pro pencils doing 12 issues? I think doing cons and commissions are more lucrative unless you're in the top 2 to 3%. I would agree with that. Let's see here what this guy says. The average pro at DC or Marvel is probably doing 10 to 11 issues a year. They're not doing their own covers because it's an extra week on the schedule and they can't afford to take it on because editorial doesn't build the kind of buffers that they're used to. So too tight of a deadline to do your own cover. God damn. Someone in the know more than me can correct me if I'm wrong, but I doubt any publisher outside of Marvel and DC is paying those rates. No, they're not. As I was writing for IDW, Dark Horse, and even a DC story around this time, and my DC rate was lower. Should I clarify? I should clarify that I don't mean to imply these are too high. Quite the opposite. I agree that these should be the minimum, but I don't see that happening in this industry. Joseph Michael Linzer, superstar fucking artist here, okay? Superstar bucket list artist for me, says, what planet is this from? Certainly not ours. No, he probably gets paid a lot more than this for a cover. But, for the new guy coming in, right? You're just starting out on Kickstarter. You got a couple grand to your name. You're trying to make a comic book. These rates will fucking kill you. They will kill you. This guy says, no, add 3% to each for inflation. This guy, Allison here says, Jesus, my painted cover rate was less than half that at 2 different companies. Correct. Kevin Freeman says, I'm calculating in my head how many copies would have to sell Diamond after printing costs in order to allow those page rates, which are reasonable, as well as marketing and other expenses. It's likely 5 figures. I know the corporate backing is important here, but it amazes me how many publishers are still able to keep their doors open given the sales numbers. That's right. That's why you don't see high rates, because they can't afford to pay higher rates because they're not selling enough. That is less than a teacher's salary. Holy shit. So some people think this is too high. Some people think it's too low. Let's see here. Let's see. I was paid less than that lettering rate at Oni, at Cheer Up, Love, and Pom Poms. Only ever been paid a good rate on lettering when I lettered and retouched manga for Studio. Protests. Plus, I got royalties twice a year. By the way, on Teen Titans Go, I was paid $325-ish a page per pencils, inks, and colors. So all 3 in one, $325. So that's pencils, inks, and colors. I never got a raise. I was told because I was hired at the top rate for kids' books. No royalties because kids' books don't sell. I guess that has changed. The sad truth is comic rates have slid backwards over the past 30 years. Marvel was starting my artists at $190 a page and inkers at $120 a page. Yeah. Look at this. Inflation calculator. You know what I mean? The best page rate I ever got was $200 per page from Heavy Metal, says Michael L. Peters. That was just a few pages each story and a flat rate to do everything: writing, drawing, inking, lettering, and if in color, painting. Divided up, it isn't much. Okay. I don't have a corporate backing, but I am meeting and sometimes surpassing these rates. Just saying, that's why pro creators keep coming back. I'm gonna add into this. I'm gonna, there's a lot of comments here. We can't go through them all. $100, $110 a page for writers. I used to get $40 split between plot and script. Yeah. So I'm gonna chime in here. You guys can't see it because the page see it, but I did the math at these rates. A new creator on the block starting his first Kickstarter would be paying around $16,000 and change. At that rate, new creators wouldn't be able to afford. We're doing this in real time, folks. Make their books. Considering that many struggle to reach $5,000, let alone the 16 grand it would take to come close to breaking even. Period. Tonight we're gonna go live. This is the date is November 20th. So if you're watching this, on the 20th, we are gonna go live tonight. It's gonna be Human Hunters 4, the closeout stream. But on top of that, we're gonna go over this minimum page rate thing. I'm gonna save this image and we're gonna go over this. 16 grand if you're gonna follow this. I can tell you, first of all, how it works for me. Okay. Writing, $0 because I write the book. So you can take out, a couple of grand right there. Pencils and inks, those are combined. And even then, it's half this amount at least. Okay. Colors, half that amount. Letters, half that amount. Covers, half that amount. Okay. I can half all this. That's why it cost me about 6 grand to put together a comic book. And that's 6 grand Canadian, right? I can chop a lot of this down. By just finding people who, are affordable. Let's come right down to it. Even in 2009, these rates are kind of high for the newbie would-be creator. And at $16,000 to put together your comic book, you're in trouble. Okay, you're never gonna make that back unless you're a superstar, unless you got a hit, unless you got the X factor, like The Rock or something. As I said, most creators struggle to make 5 grand. So, while being paid these rates are nice, and I certainly wouldn't complain if someone said, "Hey, I'm going to pay you $100 a page to write my comic book," I would say, sign me up, because that $2,400 would go a long way to producing more Nyobi. I just don't see this being reasonable and feasible in our world. And by our world, I mean the crowdfunding world, where you're a guy in your house and you want to make a comic. Now, again, it says corporate backing here, right? You got like Disney backing you or Warner Brothers backing you. I get it. But the would-be newbie creator is going to see these rates and go, oh, shit, that's the minimum I got to pay. And that's like 11 years old or older. Shit. I can't afford to do that. And then they're not going to do that. Instead of looking around and finding the talent who are affordable and you can put together something half decent and then build from there. Guys, that's my 2 cents. What is yours? Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you pay these rates? Do you pay higher? Do you pay lower? What do you think? Is this absurdity? I want to know in the chat. Let me know right meow. And go to my eBay page and pick up some back issues of Nyobi, some rare variants, some things from my personal collection. And we will all see you soon. Peace.